Okay, we'll bring the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll begin with roll call. Bowman here, Laporte.
Here.
Patterson.
Here.
Fraser.
Here.
Adi.
Here.
Rush.
Here.
Honey.
Here.
Okay, presentation, the Senior Alliance, FY 2027-2029, presentation by Jason.
Maciejewski.
Thank you. CEO.
Chair, before we go on, are we not gonna do the workshop today? Because we have the,
Yeah, we can do it.
Let's
I was
take
gonna
him
do the
first.
presentation first.
okay. Why did we had we went into and came into session. We normally don't do that for the workshop.
No, I mean, but we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I just wanna be sure.
This is normal today. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor and the Township Board, thank you for the invitation to come in this evening and talk about our multi-year plan. I gave you a couple of documents before the meeting. One of them is a presentation template, which I'll touch on a couple of the highlights from that. And the other is a sheet specifically related to services in Sumpter Township. Again, my name's Jason Maciejewski. I'm the CEO of the Senior Alliance, which is your area agency on aging. We are designated by the state of Michigan to serve Western Wayne County and the Downriver area as the area agency on aging, an arm of Department of Health and Human Services here in Michigan. We oversee a variety of services like Meals on Wheels, transportation, health and wellness classes, information, referral resources for older adults here in our area. We have about 1 million residents that we serve, and about 1 in 4 of them is defined as an older adult, which is somebody who's the age 60 and over, which is the population that we serve. Every 3 years, we are required by the federal and state government to create a multi-year plan. And that is the handout document that I had for you. This is the actual presentation I'll be giving in Lansing in about another 3 weeks or so, and outlining our plans for use of Older Americans Act and Older Michiganians Act allocated resources for older adults in our area. And just a few things I want to touch on in here. I want to note about our agency. We are physically located in the city of Dearborn at I-94 in Greenfield Road. And again, we serve downriver and Western Wayne. We have about 100 employees that do this work, but we have a network of vendors, about 70 to 80 vendors who do in-home services and a variety of this work in our community. We have been recognized for 7 years in a row by Crain's Detroit as one of the top 100 places to work in Southeast Michigan, something we're quite proud of at our agency. Really, our mission is to assist people to thrive as they live, age, and grow here in the community. We really want to lead people towards a healthier future where they have the opportunity to engage, connect, and contribute as they want to. There's a variety of things that we are doing under our multi-year plan, and I could talk for hours about the work that we do, but obviously won't take that long. But we do a variety of services under the multi-year plan, and we arrive at this plan by an assessment process. So we take in all the data that we collect as a call center, information assistance center, all the outreach services that we do, and then we do surveys as well, including of our program participants, and bring all that information to create this plan in partnership with our advisory council and our board of directors. Our board of directors is a 13-member board. 3 of those members are appointed by the Conference of Western Wayne, 3 of them by the Downriver Community Conference, and the balance of our members are at-large appointments by the board itself. We have to accomplish a number of goals. Some of them are lined up by the state of Michigan, and some of them are our own. And they really focus around services for older adults, supporting caregivers, health and independence in the community. We very much work on collaborations and partnerships, not only with our state partners, but our local partners and our vendor networks as well. and we work to strengthen those partnerships through the programs and services that we put in the community. A lot of what we rely on is outreach and word of mouth. We don't really have a marketing budget. We have a very low admin rate, as we put about 95 to 96% of the funds that we receive into services directly. So we don't really have a marketing budget or an advertising budget per se, but we do a lot of outreach. And if there are events in your township that you think we could be at and be of benefit to the community, please let us know. We will come out and we can staff tables and be engaged in those outreach events so people know more about the work that we do. Touch on a few of the services. I mentioned Meals on Wheels or home delivered meals, the congregate meal program. We actually contract with Wayne County Department of Senior Services. They are actually our vendor, which sometimes it's hard for the county to understand. They are our vendor doing that work in the community. It's a bit of an unusual relationship, but they actually operate the program on a day-to-day basis. So you see Wayne County personnel working at the different sites throughout the service area to deliver the home delivered meals and operate the congregate meal sites. We also provide information and assistance through our mainline phone number. So anybody can call with a question about aging or older adults, and we can provide them resources and referrals. For instance, if they're a veteran and they call us, if we have programs and services that apply, we'll make those referrals, but also refer them to other sources as well. Make sure they're in contact with the VA, make sure that they know what their veterans benefits are and how to access them is one example. We have a small transportation program, 5 vehicles. We can do about 20 rides per day, which are clinically based, getting people to doctor's appointments and potentially places like a township hall or Secretary of State, things like that. We really focus our rides in those fashions. Very small budget, but our board of directors has identified transportation as being a key for older adult services, and thus we've been operating for about 15 years, a small transportation program, something we're looking to expand hopefully in the coming year or two. We also are the home for the long-term care ombudsman. If you ever have anybody that is perhaps in a nursing facility and they have concerns, or family members have a concern, we house the long-term care ombudsman at our office, and they are there to assist families and most specifically residents with their needs in those places. We do a whole variety of other things. Again, I could go on for a long time, but maybe one of the things that people don't realize that we do is a program called Friendly Reassurance for isolated older adults. It's a phone call that we can provide 1 to 5 times a week just to check in on people, see how they're doing. My own grandmother was on the program before she passed when she was 98, and she got a call, I think 3 times a week from somebody just connecting, make sure everything was okay, and making sure she was connected with services as she needed them. If you have any other questions about our multi-year plan or any of the work that we do, I'd be happy to answer them, but I want to touch on the info sheet that I passed out as well. We do these sheets for all 34 of the municipalities that we serve, and these are Sumpter Township specific numbers that we have for fiscal year 25. And just to note, like home delivered meals right at the top, over 2,100 home delivered meals served in that fiscal year here in Sumpter Township. Across our entire service area, that number is over 800,000 home delivered meals, right? So there were 11 participants here. Our Medicare counseling program, which helps people sign up for Medicare, gets them enrolled. Again, we're an unbiased, independent source of information, so we're not representing any particular plan or insurance company. We helped 116 people with that in fiscal year 25. If you flip it over, you can see that one of the most interesting things is that chart, that line chart at the bottom, where it shows population. The orange line being the 65 and over population, which is the Medicare eligible population, and the light blue line being the under 18 population. And you can see how over the last 30 years those lines have come together. A really good illustration of the aging that's going on in Western Wayne and downriver. And actually, many communities, that line has crossed. So there are now more older adults than there are people under the age of 18. Your community, those lines have kind of come together, and they're pretty parallel, pretty close together, which is a little bit different than what we see in most of our communities. But it's always interesting to note for legislators in Lansing and in Washington that there are actually more older adults living in our community than there are students in the K-12 school system. And so it's always kind of an interesting statistic to share with them, is a moment of realization that how many people are actually aging, and to take into consideration the needs of the aging population in our area. I'll stop there. I'm happy to talk about any of the programs that you might have questions about in either tonight or one-on-one at a later time, but happy to answer any questions. And thank you, Supervisor, for getting us on the agenda tonight.
And thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Sure. It's Massajusetts?
Machieski.
Machieski, sorry. So I noticed that we had 11 participants. Does that seem low for a community that's got 43% of the residents age 65 with disabilities and 36% of the households over 65?
On home delivered meals, if I'm going to try some quick math in my head, for the number of residents that you have, which is about less than 1% of our service area, I would say the number is probably a little low if you spread it out per capita across the service area.
It seems like we got like 3,000, at 9,500, which I think our population is actually close to 12,000 since it hasn't been updated since our trailer parks have been renovated. But even at the 9,500, it would be over 3,000 people that are in households in Sumpter that are age 65 plus, but only 11 are using it, and then you got 43% of those have disabilities. So I just, I'm looking at how do we increase that if people need it, how do we continue to get that word out for people to use, because to me 11 seems pretty low in our community.
Yeah, and I would agree. It does seem to be on a per capita basis a little low. It's a lot of awareness and getting that information out there about the program is available. And if anybody would benefit, or if a caregiver can identify somebody that would benefit, is making that phone call.
We do have a
and
pretty
get them through the
robust
process.
senior program, so that's why I was surprised that, we only have, 11 that are on there. The second one is, how does, if somebody wanted to donate a gas card or, to the local community here for the people that are actually providing the service in their own cars, how does it happen? Because I assume they're using their own gas or volunteers, how do we get money to the people who are delivering these meals? They delivered 2,100 meals, last year, and with gas prices high, how would anybody in our community make a donation or, get that money to those volunteers so that they could get a $25 gas card or $50 gas card to help offset the services they're providing?
That's a great question. Come October 1st, when we start our new fiscal year, the Senior Alliance will be in charge of all the kind of administration duties related to the program, getting people assessed and enrolled and put into the database. We're also going to be doing a monthly benefit statement, which hasn't really been done on a consistent basis in our program. And with that, we're going to be taking over handling donations. So anybody that wants to donate a gas card or make a donation to support volunteers or perhaps people on the program, they can do that through the Senior Alliance. And they can call our main line number and make that donation.
If we wanted to focus that locally, how, would it be sufficient for us to go to our senior coordinator that kind of deals with Meals on Wheels and is very familiar with it, to give those donations, to her, like a gift card or something like that, directly to the person that's delivering, obviously?
I think they could go to your local coordinator and do that. We do have people that call us to make donations and make them very specific community or specific program. So we have definitely the fiduciary controls to make sure that happens as well.
All right, I know which way to go.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you,
more
Chair.
questions? No. Thank you, sir.
Again, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the workshop agenda. New business, consider approval to appoint Tony Caudell to the Planning Commission with the term expiring November 14th, 2027.
Sounds great. We need another member on our committee. I've heard good things about Tony, and so I look forward to seeing another face on our committee, our commission.
We can, actually, the clerk's office can provide Mr. Caudell with some classes if he so wishes to go attend some training on how to be a good planner. Tell him what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know Tony, I've met Tony, but like when I first got it, or heard about him, like, who's the Tony? And there was no supporting in there, but obviously we do background checks, all that type of stuff, I'm assuming, and everything, so. Didn't we get in the past just something that just, like, this is how long the person's been in the
We
area?
do
for,
background
whatever?
checks on people with
No, I'm not saying the background, I'm just saying
Usually,
like a
maybe
history.
when we stand up,
history.
when I stood up there, then I told about myself.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think it was written down anyplace.
We actually have an application now that people are supposed to fill out, you know, that are interested in commissions, stuff like that, so. Just to kind of give a little background information.
Okay, so as far as appointing somebody, just like Tony was appointed, by John, you was the one that brought it up to bring Tony in?
Oh, I mentioned it to him, and then, it was mentioned by Don and then by you. So, yeah, I told him that was a good opportunity to, you know, commit some time to the township,
Okay.
so.
And we need one more person, right?
Yeah, we haven't heard back. We have another member that, you know, we've reached out to that hasn't been to a couple of meetings, and they're waiting to hear back from him to see if he's gonna continue or not, then we would have another opening.
Okay, so as soon as you hear back from him or don't hear back from him, let me know, because I'm gonna appoint my son for the committee. Okay. All right, moving on. Consider approval of TJ Bowman as deputy supervisor with a pay rate of $8,200 per year.
Sure, I might as well open up if I could have a roar for a bit. I've got a series of things, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the last meeting, and I had some questions, and I figured I haven't had a chance to talk to our attorney, but I didn't know, this was something that was on the last agenda. I didn't know about its legitimacy of being back on the agenda again, because from what I understand, it failed. It was a 3-3, if I'm not mistaken, so I didn't know about that. And also too, as I asked last time, anytime that we've had anybody that's had like a family member that was gonna be serving under the position, that person would recuse themselves from a vote. So I didn't know if that was the case too, and that's more, I guess, of a legal question. Rob, do you have any input on that, or?
As indicated when we talked about it, it's a financial interest normally is what it is, and it's, a lot of times it's on the person that has to vote. I'm not sure that you have a financial interest in that. I mean, there may be some connections here and there. Now, that's what the test is. I mean, there's times when, you're right, there's times when people go beyond that, but the question for me is what is, my opinion as it relates to, is there a conflict of interest? And that would only exist as if there was a financial interest in it for whoever it is that's voting.
All right, so, anyway, just had that, I mean, my take on it is that I'm opposed to the agenda item for a multitude of reasons, and I don't have anything against Mr. Bowman's son at all, but primarily because I believe the township has far more urgent priorities that should be addressed first. Been without a township manager and finance director for nearly 2 months, we've known about it for 3 months. We've been without a dedicated payroll employee since the beginning of the year. Critical positions remain unfilled while this proposal is moving forward. I had condition, but we are in good financial condition, but the financial status, it means that needs immediate attention. We're going into the second quarter of the fiscal year. Budget amendments have not been presented to bring back, spending back into alignment. The annual audit is beginning or pending. It should be in the next week or two here. We have a meeting and follow-up. We had a meeting and a follow-up proposal with Rod Taylor from Maynard. I'm not sure if you got my emails, Mr. Bowman, or not, but he had provided some quotes
I
for
did.
discussions, training, fund balances, financial governance and all. I'd like to know what we're gonna do to proceed on that. The proposal asks for the board to hire Mr. Bowman's son, and it's legally permissible. It just, in my opinion, raises questions about confidence, transparency, supervision, qualifications, and whether the position is necessary.
Qualifications.
Well, we don't have a list of what the qualifications were, or like what's needed. But anyway, I mean, I got a full page of questions, but just initially, my concern is moving forward with something like this with so many other things that are going on. This is not there was positions, I know, talking with Mr. Rush over the years, when I came on the board 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, this was the trustee that was serving also to help you out in the deputy supervisor position was kind of like meant to be kind of like shorter interim as a newly elected official. And then, because, again, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, with all statutory responsibilities, most of those are contracted out. And I was looking at the list that was provided here. A lot of these aren't statutory. I know that there are things that can happen, but we're talking about like answering phones, holding office hours, supervising and managing of buildings and stuff like that. So I mean, I think these are already things that we got going. I'm just, like, again, I don't want to make it, it's nothing against your son. I've met your son many times, nice guy. I just don't see the need to, when we have so many other pending important issues that are at hand now. I know you think it's funny, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well,
Back to you.
everybody's got the right to their opinion.
Yes, I do.
Chair, I just had the same question we had last time. Is this statutory duties, or is it statutory plus? The
I
description.
don't wanna get caught up in that, that's what Donnie over here brought up the last time, and all it did was cause confusion. You explained to me what statutory plus is. Is he capable of doing other things that other people wouldn't have to take time to do? Yeah.
I think that, my question is statutorily, the law says that you don't have to appoint a deputy, but if you do, they're to do statutory duties. And so, that's, budget, that's assessing, which we already have those hired out. And on the list here, it shows that he's gonna be answering phones, which is being done by Karen Whittington right now in your office. And
Okay, can I interrupt you, Matt? And I promised myself I was gonna be calm, cool, and collective about this,
you
okay?
should be, we're just asking questions.
Okay, so I wanna ask you a question. What you just said, what is the difference between what Tim has been doing for the last 6 years that nobody has ever brought up or mentioned, or even brought the subject up about paying Tim for what he's been doing for me for the last 6 years? What is the difference
My
between
understanding, Tim
him,
was
wait a minute, don't interrupt
statutory.
me. What is the difference between what Tim has done for the last 6 years and what my son would be doing for me for the next 2 years?
Well, the question goes, Tim, my understanding, was a statutory deputy. He was not a deputy plus. He was not an employee of the township.
Well, then if that's what it requires, just a statutory duty, the same thing Tim was doing, why wouldn't my son be eligible to do the same thing Tim was doing before?
He absolutely would, Tim, but what you have here is not what it is. You have being in charge of the building maintenance. Our DPW director is in charge of that.
Well, not
Everything
in
you've
charge
listed,
of it. That's something we put together, okay?
But that's what we're reading, so we're trying to ask those questions. If that's what you're hiring him for, that is a deputy plus, which makes him an employee. So
Okay.
that's why we need to understand, what are we voting on today?
Okay, so that needs to be worded different. So we'll just let it go at that. And when we start the regular board meeting and we come to item B, when we approve the agenda, I will ask for a motion to remove item B, okay? And then at that point, I will officially appoint my son as deputy supervisor, okay? And then at the next board meeting, we'll discuss his pay rate,
Okay, I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure we were clear, because we have to
and
vote on.
and that'll be that.
Okay.
Any more?
I guess we can discuss this later, Mr. Bowman. It just seems like you're just singular, you're like, I'm gonna appoint him on the planning commission, I'm gonna appoint him on here, you've had yours, I didn't wanna get into this now, Mr. Bowman, too, because it's like, I remember when you were first running, and when I voted for you, that you ran on the draining the swamp, get rid of nepotism. You weren't for it.
Okay, so if
Don't
you wanna
appoint
talk
family
about,
members.
let's. you
Well,
calm,
no,
cool,
I'm
and
just
let's
talking
talk
about what-
Let's talk about nepotism.
Okay,
You just
sir, can I have
mentioned
the
it.
floor? Can I
No,
have the floor?
no.
Okay, you don't want me to have the floor.
I want
Okay.
you to let me, talk about what you just said, when we talk about nepotism, okay?
I'm talking about what your words were. Your words were, we've
Okay.
got too much nepotism, we've got too many
Okay,
family
so-
members being appointed by other family members.
And that was
that's
my
got to
plan,
stop.
and that was my plan,
So has
okay?
that changed?
Why would it, how do you consider it nepotism? When Don has his daughter working for him, okay? Is it just because the clerk has the right to hire somebody that, of his choice? It's still his daughter. What about Gabrielle in there, okay? When Esther hired her granddaughter without board approval. What is that? What's the difference in that? And Gabrielle ended up being a full-time employee. What's the difference?
So I'm asking you, has your opinion changed since
Yes,
you were running for
it's
office
changed.
and you were elected?
If you want to put it like that, it's changed.
Okay, your opinion has changed.
Yep.
Again, too, what's the difference, to answer the question, at least in my opinion, Mr. Rush can chime in if he wants to too as well. I feel like I've still been on the board not that long, but 4 years, not that long. But when I first came in, I'm hearing from Mr. Rush and others about the waning support for the idea of a deputy supervisor, because in the initial first 2 years, you came in and you were just like, I don't even know what we're doing here. And it was like to provide stability in the supervisor's office. It was asked and it was supported by you were requesting and all the other board members, like, yes, in the short term, in the interim, would you be willing to do this, Mr. Rush? And he graciously said yes. But then after you're in office for a couple, 2, 3 years, like, you're comfortable, you've been in office for a couple years, so that need has changed. And there's a difference between
I wouldn't say that
between
need
a
has changed.
trustee filling in and helping out
I
with
should be
things.
the one to decide whether that
Well,
need
it
is changed or
can.
not.
I understand, but as far as statutory responsibilities, and Mr. Rush and I mean, full transparency, Mr. Rush and I, we've known each other for better part of, what, 26 years or something like that? Like, the majority of what he does, when people call in the supervisor's office, can't get a hold of you, they will call him.
Okay,
So he will receive phone calls. And when you
Nine
can't
times-
take time to come in and sign things, he will come in and sign things. Outside of that, that's the only thing really statutorily that has been the case.
okay, all right. And then what is the difference of my son doing the same thing Tim's doing?
Well-
And nobody has mentioned anything about Tim's pay in the last 6 years.
That's not true.
Well,
Everybody's mentioned things about Tim's pay,
Well,
and
they
you know where the
haven't
pay
mentioned it to
came
me.
from. Well,
you haven't said anything to me.
I don't think that's necessarily true, because you and I have talked about it before. So anyway, with that being said,
Okay,
Mr.
whatever.
Rush many times has said, like, I don't, like, you have fired Mr. Rush a couple times, he has resigned a
I've
couple times.
fired him a
Yes.
couple times?
Yes.
No. Mr. Rush, no. Mr. Rush.
Well, let me ask Mr. Rush, has he ever
wrote
said
a
you're fired?
Letter of resignation. I was the last one to hear about
I'm
it.
asking Mr. Rush, has he ever told you that you're fired?
He told me he was gonna replace me, pretty
I'm
much
not
the
talking about
same
this
thing.
last time, I'm talking about the time
No,
before in December.
I never said you're fired, Tim. Never, ever
Okay.
said you're fired, Tim.
Well, you said you were gonna replace me. Maybe a kinder way of saying you're fired.
And when he wrote out his last resignation, I was the last person to hear about it.
Wait a minute,
All
wait.
I know, Tim, I got a text from you, Tim, saying you fired him.
That's-
You sent me a text, I'm firing him and I'm replacing him with Mr. Frazier.
You
Chair,
told me that
I
too as
never,
well.
I never told Tim I was firing him.
I don't know if you told him, but I'm just
You
saying,
told
I
me
got
that too.
So we thought he was fired, we never saw a reappointment, so there's been, a lot of question about that. Obviously, there's been some
Chair,
ups and downs.
if I may, Chair?
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, let's get a couple things clarified. Hasn't been 6 years, Tim, it's been 4,
Okay.
okay? I have 12 years of municipal experience. Let me finish.
I'm
You
letting you.
gave
Did
me
I
the
say-
floor,
did
Tim.
I
You
say
gave me the
anything?
floor.
Did I say anything? No. Finish.
Thank you. In that time, I took a day off of work once a month to attend and represent the township at the Conference of Western Wayne. Never asked for any additional pay or mileage, gas, anything. I just considered it as part of being deputy supervisor. The last letter I wrote, resignation letter, I was getting phone calls from many people, employees and managers in the township. Everybody was confused. So I took it upon myself to write a township-wide email that, just for clarity, here's what happened. And in that letter, I stated, and, everybody's read it, there's no ill feelings, and I'm gonna do everything I can to support the supervisor's office in the best interest of the township. Back to you, Chair.
Any more? So we'll move on. C, approve addendum number 5 to the water and service contract between Great Lakes Water Authority and Sumpter Township. Any discussion on that? We'll move on then. D, consider request to purchase 2 super Valor 16-inch battery-powered PPV fans for the fire department at a cost of $12,078.96. Any discussion on that? No discussion on that? I would like to know, do we have those fans?
You can have Chief of Good would like to.
Good evening. So the fans that we have now, the positive pressure ventilation fans, are probably about 20-plus years old. They're motor-driven, so dealing with gasoline storage in there, carburetors gumming up, getting them started on scene, takes a little bit of time with that. The fans are used to push the smoke and the heat out of the structures that are on fire, making it safer for the firefighters to go in and clear everything up that way. The battery-operated fans are replacing those. They run off the same Milwaukee batteries that most of our tools and the apparatus run off of now. They're about half the weight. We don't have to worry about gasoline. We don't have to worry about carburetors gumming up, maintenance onto those. And they're actually pushing more air and volume out with that. So they're updating the current equipment that we have now.
Quick question. And this was in the budget, this is a budget
This was a
item?
budget item
Kind of
for
like it
this
was
year.
mentioned in your previous budget that you had expected to replace this year?
Yes.
Got it. Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any more? And we'll move on. E, consider approval to purchase 3 tablets for the building department inspectors at a cost of $2,958.43.
Got a couple of questions that Mr. Laporte probably knows. I thought when we were interviewing Carla Wortman that they had said that they were supplying the tablets or something like that. I thought
I
that.
don't believe they ever said they were supplying them. This is they're collecting all our data.
Okay.
This is for on-site inspections. So when they go out, when the inspector goes out in the field to do building, mechanical, electrical, and so forth, the inspections are time-stamped, they're real-time. They could take photos with them, and it's all our data. They're not gonna be used for other communities.
I talked to
Okay.
Jeff today about it, so.
It seems like the right thing to do. Plus,
Yeah.
Melissa over in PD found these at a fraction of the cost. That originally it was,
It was over 4,000, wasn't it?
it was
It's gonna be like
$12,000.
4,000 apiece.
Yeah, now we're down to all 3 of them for $29.58, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. They're a-year-old tablets, but that's okay. It still
Oh, yeah.
runs the software great.
I agree. I just thought when we were sitting in there talking that the tablets went with them, that they could use them for multiple communities, kind of like I as a home inspector for a company, you can switch in between users and all that. So do the tablets stay here?
Yeah,
They
they do.
just come in here and they pick them up and they take them
That's
from
what
here.
Jeff told
Yeah.
me today.
Did also, I didn't see on the reduced, does that include the keyboard too as well?
No,
Do we need to get the keyboards?
Well,
or-
they'll have a keyboard on the tablet. You can-
Gotcha. I mean, it was proposed up above. I didn't know if it was something that was needed. Seems like it
that
might
was
be
on the
something
other
bigger.
one, the more
Yeah,
expensive
the
one.
expensive ones had keyboards, but they were a lot more money,
And
plus
that-
hard casing, and they had a lot of little add-ons added to the other quote.
But I asked Jeff this morning actually, if they were gonna be used in other communities, he said no. When he goes to Howe, they have theirs, and he picks up theirs, does his inspections.
Yeah, and currently they're doing everything by hand on paper and coming back to town hall, inputting stuff into the computer, and
And then-
they'll have to import pictures in. So I mean, it's gonna streamline a lot of stuff, and it's gonna be beneficial, not just for us storing the data.
For the builders,
It's
yeah.
gonna be good for the
Residents.
builders, it's gonna be good for the residents,
The trades.
yeah. So I think it's got a lot of positives.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the negative is the money, right? I mean, it's $3,000. Ish.
Like my wife says, guess how much money I saved today at the store? How much did it cost us to save that? So,
But it was
so
on
we're-
sale.
We're saving $9,000, so. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, any more?
Chair, before we approve the agenda, can I make one more quick comment?
We're on
Yeah, if I can, if everybody would direct their attention, including the audience, to that blue rotary flag. 4-point test for proper decision-making. Everybody take a good read of that before we continue tonight. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, we'll move on. F, consider approval of the collective bargaining agreement with Sumpter Township Command Officers Association of Michigan from 4/1/2026 through 9/30/2030.
Chair, if I could just confirm with Attorney Young that he did review it. I know he told me he was reviewing it. You did finish all the changes and everything was there?
All the changes that we
Great.
discussed, closed session were made, and then I looked through it again. Not every single word, but like I said, the routine stuff.
The changes.
We've been looked at it so many times, but
Yeah.
the meat and the potatoes is what we looked at again.
Thank you for confirming that.
I guess you've already done the pledge, so you can just move into the meeting if you want.
Okay, so now we'll go to the regular board meeting. Okay, and we left off with approve agenda. Motion to approve the agenda with the eliminating item B.
Support.
All in favor?
Well,
Aye.
So I'll make the motion, and then trustee Adi has the support, is that right?
I have the support.
Got it, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. And I guess it would be that time to, at this point, I'm gonna, effective immediately, appoint my son as deputy supervisor. So be it. And we'll move on to item C.
I don't think it can be done that way, but okay. If you wanna, we have public comment now we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, well, we can comment on it when we come to that.
You can have the, okay. Whatever you wanna do, sir.
Okay.
You're running the meeting.
All right, so let's go to public comment. And the first one is Kristen McKay.
Hi, it's actually Kristen McCrae. I created a poll earlier this morning to ask the surrounding community if they felt it was appropriate for elected officials to appoint family members for other paid positions in their city or township. It was a resounding no. I was hoping this issue wouldn't appear on the agenda again, but unfortunately, here we are again. Just because something may be legal does not mean it is the right thing to do. Laws establish the minimum standards for acceptable behavior in society, but they do not always capture the full measure of ethics or fairness. There are times when an action can technically comply with the law while still causing harm or violating a broader sense of justice. True integrity requires looking beyond what is merely permitted and asking what is responsible and morally sound. Mr. Supervisor, your tantrum and disruptive behavior at the last board meeting undermines the trust residents have with Sumpter Township officials.
Okay, I'm not
As a
here to be
public official,
criticized. Okay,
Open Meetings Act, so no, you're not gonna stop me. As a public official, you are held to a higher standard of conduct. As an elected official, you are not just a private individual expressing frustration, you are a representative of the people and a steward of Sumpter Township. Disagreement, passion, and strong debate are all part of democracy, but losing control, lashing out, or behaving abusively when things do not go your way is not leadership. It's a failure of responsibility. You and the board members have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of the township. I feel very strongly that you're also putting the police millage at risk of not passing because, in your own words, you want your son to do more. You're asking residents to be okay with paying him $8,200 a year, a relatively small amount in the grand scheme of things, but the township also needs support for our first responders. Trying to appoint your son as deputy supervisor is an unnecessary risk. No one will benefit from a loss of funding for our police department. It could be detrimental to our township, and yes, also, I'm still against flock safety, for anybody wondering. I feel it is a poor decision to spend $1 million to pave Judd Road, which isn't even a township-owned road, especially when this vote was held while 2 members were absent,
Okay, I don't
when
have
the
to
item
see
wasn't even on the agenda initially, and no public hearing was held. This again is a risk when funding for the police department hasn't yet been secured. I expect our elected officials to handle conflict with maturity, respect, and restraint, and I hope you can offer the township an apology for what happened at the last board meeting.
How'd you like that one, Donnie? Bob Kudla?
Thank you. My name is Bob Kudla.
Kudla?
And I was just bringing up 2 things. Don't know if one's appropriate, but the other seems topic of discussion. Hiring family just ain't right. Sorry. I don't know whether the young man we're talking about is a Rhodes Scholar or a gamer in somebody's basement. But in the political environment, in the government environment, in the business world, when you hire family, it's just causing problems. It's causing consternation here today at this desk. That's where it starts, and it just continues. It's not the right thing to do. If it were up to me, if I were king, there'd be a law against it. It'd be a felony if you hired a relative, because it just changes the whole environment that they're working in. Everybody's afraid to say something. Everybody's doesn't want to step on anybody's toes. Everybody's afraid somebody's going to get pissed off. It's just the wrong thing to do, period. The other thing it came up a lot, or seemed to come up, is this flock camera thing. That doesn't make sense to me either, and it's not on the agenda today, but that's not something that I don't think government should be involved in either. Unless, of course, we want everybody to have access to the data that's in it, because in essence, that's what happens. When it gets out a little bit, it gets out a lot. And you can't confine that stuff. You're dealing with human beings. The same issue that we have here with employees, family members. When you deal with confidential stuff, you're dealing with human traits, and it's nothing but a possible problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Laura Perry?
Good evening, Supervisor and Board. My name is Laura Perry. I am your candidate running for state representative and here at House District 31. Since the last time I was at this podium, I've spent a lot of time getting to know the residents of Sumpter throughout the district. We've knocked over 15,000 doors, getting to know what the needs of the people are and some of the issues here in Sumpter. We held a law and order roundtable with some members of your police department and got to understand some of the needs behind your public safety millage and some of the failings that are happening at the state level as to why we have to go back out and receive these funds through the residents. Looking at some of the calculations with your rooftops and how things are brought in. And I want to let you guys know that I do take these matters very seriously as I'm running to represent you in Lansing. Your neighbors over to the right in Romulus, they also have a calculation issue with their rooftops for infrastructure funding. They have 8 square miles of airport roads, and they don't take that into calculation when getting the infrastructure funding. And I was able to take that to another representative, and we're looking at tripling the infrastructure roads funding for them with anybody over $2 million. So I'm trying to do that with your guys' issue that you have here in Sumpter with the mobile home parks and what you guys are receiving for the public, for your public safety funds. But I first and foremost just want to tell you some of the feedback that I'm receiving from the doors, because right now the #1 issue that we are hearing is affordability. Some of the things that we are looking at is property tax reform. I do support eliminating the 0.6 mils, starting with our seniors and our veterans. A lot of people are being priced out of their homes and looking to move into apartments so that they can take care of their medical bills. AI surveillance pricing is a real threat to people here in Michigan, where e-commerce sites like Amazon are looking at where you live, your household income, and giving you a different price than neighbors down the road. Allowing private equity firms to purchase up the homes in our neighborhood and sell them at inflated costs, driving up the rates here in the market. So these are all things that we're looking at, as well as rolling back the $1 billion in increases that we've seen through the utilities, and that was all of a result of the clean energy mandates that we pushed here in the state. I welcome repealing that, also restoring local control for the siting of wind, solar, and battery storage projects. As you guys are moving forward with appointing somebody in the new planning commission, I hope that's something that you're looking into, because we're seeing it come through in waves. Right now we're dealing with an unwanted solar development in Raisonville Township. But I'm very much in tune to what's going on in our district. I want you to know that I am here for you for any issues that you have, and right now, even though I'm not there, I'm trying to escalate those issues to the proper people that are currently sitting in Lansing to make sure that we're taking care of the people. I do not have Detroit. I have Sumpter. I have Van Buren. I have Belleville. I have Romulus. You guys often feel like you're not heard when it comes to Wayne County projects. Same thing with my Washtenaw townships that I have in York and Augusta. They're not Ann Arbor. I will be a large voice for you. I hope to earn your support in this race, but in the meantime, I'm still here to be that large voice for you. And if you have anything that you need, I'm here for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sarah Riggs.
Hi, I wanted to come introduce myself as the new editor of the Belleville Area Independent, and to start off by apologizing that we got off on the wrong foot. I made some errors in the article that I ran last edition, and I want you to know that I made some corrections online, and I will be printing a correction in the next edition as well. I know emotions are running high, so I didn't mean to add to that by printing information that wasn't factual. So I apologize. We'll try to do a better job covering you going forward.
I would like to ask you to publicly apologize to me and my son.
I
front
thought that's
page.
what I was doing here.
On the front page. Because what you put in that ad made it look like I wanted to pay my son 10 times more than
Right.
what Mr. Rush was making.
That's what I said. I'm apologizing that I caused, that there were already tensions running
I want
high.
a specific apology for me and my son.
I will consider it.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll go back to the regular board meeting.
We are in the regular board meeting.
Pardon me?
We are in the regular board meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with the minutes. Okay, A, approve regular board meeting minutes of July 14th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for both A and B.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Approve warrants of $193,008.63.
So moved. The roll
Support.
call vote, please.
Support with a roll call vote.
A roll call vote? Bowman, yes. Laporte?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Fraser?
Yes.
Addie?
Yes.
Rush?
Yes.
Honey?
Yes.
Okay. Parks and Recreation Report, trustee liaison, Rush.
Thank you, Chair. Going to keep this a little short. I'll have much more after our next Parks and Rec meeting. Just a little follow-up on Family Fun Day. Unfortunately, due to the wildfire smoke, we had to reschedule it in the interest of public safety. Myself and Chief Luke, in coordination with Ron Pullman at the National Weather Service, we just had to make the call to protect the public. We do believe that the rescheduling probably hurt the turnout a little bit too, but still a lot of people showed up. The people that were there had a great time, and thanks to Anita for getting Google to get the right address for Graham Park. And a big thank you to Ron Tabor and the DPW, Fire Department, Police Department, and all our excellent volunteers. These events just keep getting better and better. Also, the October Jam, which will be October 3rd,
I'll be submitting a new budget to the board. It will include fireworks. The Michigan Fireworks Club, our great resident, Brian Messer. We're gonna be going out to the fairgrounds probably within the next week. He wants to do his own on-site survey, which I agree with, because his company is insured. We won't have to go for the rider like we did for the Summer Jam. So as soon as I get those numbers, I'll write the agenda item and get them right to the board. And Chair, that's all I've got today.
Thank you, Tim.
Make a motion to accept trustee Rush's Parks and Rec report.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Water and sewer report, Tabor.
Good afternoon Supervisor Bowman, good afternoon Board, good afternoon Sumpter Township residents. We're gonna go with the revenue earned in July for the water report. Cycle, we billed for cycles 2, 4, and 9. And cycle 2 was $203,437.47. Cycle 4, $92,840.99. Cycle 9 is $7,996.41, for a total of $304,274.87. A couple things going on at the DPW in the water end of it. We're putting in 5 new trash cans over at Graham Park. We're pouring cement slabs, and we're going to try to get the trash cans closer to the pavilions, closer to the playscape areas. So hopefully, a lot of the trash will make it into the cans, make it a little more convenient for the residents. You know, they don't have to walk as far to the cans, and they keep our parks a lot cleaner. That'll be taking place this week and next week. The DPW crews, after the concert when we had those long, strong winds, we assisted Fire Chief and his crews out there with your new equipment you purchased for the DPW, and we pushed the trees out of the road and stuff like that and helped assist them opening up the roads. Thanks, Chief, for the help. In the water end of it, we're starting the lead and copper testing this month, so if you live in an older home or have some concerns about the water quality in your home, and you'd like to get the water tested at no charge, contact us here at the DPW or at the Township Hall, and we'll get it scheduled up for you. Our crews will be out trimming around the fire hydrants. The weeds are growing crazy. We're gonna clean all that out so we can make it more accessible for the firefighters, I'm sorry. Our water crews are scheduled up to do several repairs, scheduled for several residential shut-off valve repairs. We have a service tap we got scheduled over the next 2 weeks. And the sewer end of it, Martinsville Pump Station should be done within the next, I'd say, couple of weeks. We were trying to bore lines today. It's quite complicated. We're shooting from our meter to our lift station, our pump station. We're shooting diagonally under the ground, and there's 2 fiber lines in there, 2 water services, 2 sewer services, 1 water main and 1 sewer main, and it's all at different levels. So it's we got it through there today, but we couldn't get it back. So it's a tight fit. We're threading the needle. But Jake's working hard over there, and we appreciate LMC for helping us get that completed, and it should be done within the next 2 weeks. Start restoring the project. Is there any questions?
No questions, just a comment. I wanted to thank you
Yes,
for coming out for the Family Fun Day and volunteering
Absolutely.
your time. I know Jeremy was out there. You can share Jeremy's last name.
Jeremy Mastrada.
Mastrada, thank
Yep.
you. That they were employees that came and volunteered their time to help, at the event, so it was much appreciated.
We could try to get him a backstop for those balls next year.
Yeah, we get every year we get a little more creative. This year we had the water, we could had a valve so it filled the bucket.
Yeah.
Next year, the backstop, everybody suggested that, get it to roll back to people.
Right.
Yeah,
I think they're intentionally missing it just to.
Yeah,
march
make me
around the
run.
woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put me in the woods.
Well, thank you again, Ron, and Jeremy.
That was fun.
So, Ron, how are the work orders coming, completing work orders, assigning them?
Actually, I drew it up. I haven't initiated it right now. We got, Mr. Crushen does most of the misdigs. But I will, within the next, I would say, I'll try to get it started next week. I got them drawn up how I want them. It's specific, I want to make sure all the data's there. I can collect it all. There's room for them to write it. I've looked at several different things like I had at my previous employer. but it makes the workers a little bit more accountable for each day what they complete. Right now, I'm not saying that my employees, I have good, excuse me. The township has really good employees over there in the DPW department. It's just we need a little bit better organized.
So what I'd like to see is, I'd like to see some kind of report, whether it's monthly or quarterly, and I'm sure the board would like to see some kind of report on work orders, how many are generated and how many
Yep.
are closed out.
Yeah,
So we can get a good pulse on how the work's flowing through the DPW and water.
Yep.
And maybe we could then utilize those reports that we can differentiate the GL ledger between water and sewer versus grass cutting,
Right.
weed whacking, things like that, you know. And so I think it's important that we start utilizing the work order system, and we can start generating, closing, and balancing those things out.
Right, we do, you know, right now, when I came in, 14 months ago, I told them I wanted work orders for everything. Anna's like, do we need this? Absolutely. Everything that gets completed by one of my employees, there's a work order, so we can backtrack where the work, who did it, who's responsible for not doing it, stuff like that. And we were doing that. It's just we weren't keeping track of how many we were doing. The last couple of meetings, I told you guys, I have it here, actually. I didn't want to waste too much time. But as far as work orders, Anna made me a list of how many we got done, but that's something I definitely will generate for you, so you know
Yeah,
how
I mean,
much.
you might find out that after you get some time looking at these, you might be able to set up a canned program to where you could identify certain times of the month you need to cut grass
Right.
versus read meters and so forth. I mean, it could be a good tool for you long-term, I think.
Absolutely, every year, you get used to doing certain things at certain times of the year, and a lot of it's repetitive. And with my employees right now, we're kind of, there's not a whole bunch of employees there, so this stops, we go over do meters or something, we're breaking them up and breaking them away when we can. I know.
Are you close to getting a new vehicle over there? Because it looks like one of those pickup trucks is kind of getting long in the tooth.
Oh, you got, I'm not sure with Enterprise, I'll get with Enterprise, but we got, like I said, we have a new dump truck coming next month, which is gonna help a lot, because right now I'm ordering a lot of gravel and restoration supplies from Bush, and I have to pay them for delivery and stuff like that. And we have the materials back in our yard there, and we actually have bins with dirt, gravel, so it's gonna make us so much more effective. But, yeah, a couple of them trucks need to go. I mean, they're still putting along, but.
They're pushing the edge of giving a bad reflection of the community
No, it
by
does.
driving them down the
Absolutely.
road. I'm afraid something might fall off of one of them at some point in time.
Heard of residents.
Well, we've got our money's worth out of them, we'll say that.
Yeah, you guys picked up the new pickup this year. We got the new pickup and we got the dump truck on its way. It's a little harder to build. We put a stainless steel bed on it and stuff like that, because we're looking at long term with the dump truck to last us like 15 years, where the pickup turnover is going to be quicker. We can get more, we trade it back in kind of on the system.
Yeah.
But the dump truck's going to stay with us. We're going to purchase it and it'll be here for 20 years. It's going to have stainless steel bed and everything's beefed up on that thing.
All right, back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Don. Any more?
Motion to accept the water and sewer report.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried.
Thank you, Ron.
Treasurer's report, Patterson.
Board, I'll be just brief on this. Nothing's really changed. The only thing that has changed, as I mentioned, I think it was a month ago now, is that our CDs, that obviously, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging than others as far as getting as much interest as we can. So right now, we're probably sacrificing 0.5% interest, which isn't huge, but right now, until we find out what money is going when and when it's gonna be demanded, so we don't wanna tie it up for like a year or two if we need it in 3 or 4 months. So finances are stable. Sometimes you might see a little bit more going into the Michigan class. We get a little bit less there, but it's a continuation, daily interest rate thing too. So our CDs are stable with the PFM. I would just ask the board to receive and file the treasurer's report.
So moved. Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Board response.
Chair, I got 2 things if I could, just really quickly. Something, and I think I've already talked to Sarmatis about this too, is that our posi scripts and posting for finance director, township manager, I believe that's gonna be on the agenda next month. We might at the same time wanna be, thinking about, I don't even know, this might be ignorance on my part, did we ever approve an actual hiring policy? Because I know it was about 10 months ago, I saw drafts of it and all that. I
No,
don't.
it never came back. Prior to Ken leaving, I had asked him about it, and, he had never brought it back and, for the board to approve.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm asking is because I've had two people, one of them was a referral from another treasurer in another community. They referenced somebody, and somebody that everybody in the township knows that's involved at a higher level in our finances. They referred somebody else, I won't mention names, but they both reached out and said, I'm interested in a finance position. So if we approve that next month, we also need to be cognizant or maybe state who's gonna be on the interview committee in the absence of a hiring policy, so that we can start interviewing quickly. We need to get these because there's a couple that I've spoke to, all I said is, we can't interview right now, the board hasn't even approved a position description or let alone posted, but as soon as it is, I'll let them know and they can make application for it. So that's the one, so just to be mindful of that. And the second one is, I just want to I had to go through this maybe 2 or 3 years ago, so I want to make sure that I'm judiciously expressing my support for the police millage. This is me, this is not the board saying, vote for the police, but I appreciate the police. I've been a resident out here 30 years now, this past April. They're very fiscally responsible in the management, and if you look at the Facebook posts that they've made, the documents that we've been able to hand out, it's a blessing to be able to see what they've done with what they've received. And we are overall, we are still, to a certain extent, we're subsidizing from what we get in royalties, a big portion of that, but not fully. But I appreciate the police, and they've got my full 100% support, and prayers for that millage. I hope everybody in the township, I would just encourage them to support them as I am. Back to you, Chair.
Chair? I wanted to echo Ms. Perry's stance on property taxes. I believe the same. If people don't know, 99% of the property taxes that are levied on you go back to the county. They don't stay here in the community. The only thing that stays 100% in the community is the millages that the voters vote on, that stay in the community to fund the local government. And I'm a firm believer. I do not believe that the county should be able to put a tax on that we can't vote on that could put you in debt. The government should never be taxing somebody without their ability to vote on that tax, to put you in debt and then be able to take your property if you don't pay that debt. So that's something I definitely agree with, that there has to be a rework of that some way, so that the people, veterans, starting with veterans and seniors, are not put in a position where they're taxed by the government to essentially be taken out of their house. So I agree with that.
Thank you.
Chair? I was wanting to ask Ron, Ron, maybe you could go take a look at the northwest corner of Judd and Martinsville. That corner is so dangerous. That's where accidents do occur, and I bet that's a big part of it, is that growth is up again. And you got to put the nose of your vehicle up on Judd Road to look. And so I was told that, trying to get they're out here in the community right now doing that, but to catch them and trying to get them down there, and I was hoping maybe you just that one corner. Yep, we can do that. Because it's very, it's really bad. It's really bad. I appreciate that. Thanks. Chair, back to you.
Okay, item B,
Item A,
what's that?
we didn't do item A yet.
Yeah, we did that in workshop, okay. Consider approval to appoint Tony Cadell to the Planning Commission with the term expiring November 14th, 2027.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
Welcome aboard. Say something.
Sit here sooner if you want.
Wouldn't take long.
Climb the ladder, Tony. Okay, now to be, a motion to remove.
We already
made the
did.
motion.
Okay.
We already removed
So
it.
at this point is a good time to announce that I'm going to appoint my son as deputy supervisor, effective immediately.
Well, when he comes up here and can take the oath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
effective immediately.
Once he
He's
takes
waiting- he's waiting outside right now.
Yeah, once
No,
he
I
takes the oath. Yeah, that's when it's effective.
Okay, all right, so let's move on to C. Approve amendment number 5 to the water service contract between Great Lakes Water Authority and Sumpter Township.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Okay. D, consider the request to purchase 2 Super Vac Valor, is that pronounced right? 16-inch battery-powered PPV fans for the fire department at a cost of $12,078.96.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. E, consider approval of 3 tablets for building department inspectors at a cost of $2,958.43.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. F, consider approval of the collective bargaining agreement with Sumpter Township Command Officers Association of Michigan from 4/1/2026 through 9/30/2030.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Announcements.
Okay, I think we have an announcement from the floor.
Be the
Rob,
last to
you're up
speak,
there.
if that's okay. I don't want to take anybody's right, but I would like to address the board as a member of the audience and not as the attorney, but let the other one speak first.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, I've been your attorney for 40 years. It's been a great privilege and an honor for me to have that position. And I want you to know that over the time, I've seen many contentious board meetings, some that required participation from the police, some that just back and forth. What happened tonight is nothing compared to what's happened in the past. This is what I used to tell people, the last bastion of democracy is in a township board meeting when the citizens have a right to come in and address the township board and give their opinions and what they think the board should consider and do as it relates to matters that affect them. And that's what the process is all about. Sometimes it's difficult to take, sometimes they say things that you love. I sat as a board member in Brownstown for 12 years, I know the feeling. But those things happen, and those matters and the differences that we have, it's healthy, it's good. But I guess I felt compelled to say something tonight, because when we have those disagreements, I also hope and I pray that those disagreements don't lead to bad decisions as it relates to matters that affect this township that are extremely important. And that's why I speak as a citizen and not as the attorney, and that is that I hope we don't allow things that bring negative thoughts as it relates to what's happening to an issue to somehow impact a very important service that we have in this township, which is the police department. And to have a dislike or a disrespect for a political appointee or whatever the case may be, elected official, and translate that into a negative thought as it relates to something that's so important as the police department, the fire department, whatever the public safety needs are of this community is a disservice in my mind. I'm not saying that happened, but it moves me to the point where we can have our disagreements and we can have our agreements, and citizens have, like I say, a right to talk, and I'll defend everybody's right to do it. As long as you're not inciting a riot, and nobody was doing that tonight, then you have a right to stand and tell the board what you think should be done and what your thoughts are. And that's what it's all about, and that's the First Amendment, and we all respect that. But at the same time, we don't want to be punitive in nature and take something that's very valuable and needed in this community, which is the police department. And I can tell you that from here, it's not just in Sumpter Township, but it's in the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office and also in Wayne County. Sumpter Township is viewed as one of the best police departments in the county. And that's all they can speak of. I'm not jumping outside the county and suggesting that others are better, but that's all the opinions that they have. Right down to the detectives. When matters are brought forth that we have to deal with, instead of bringing in the detectives from the county, they allow Sumpter Township's detectives to take this on. It's been happening for a long time because they have a lot of respect for the efforts, the teaching, the training, the leadership, and the commitment by the police department in this community. Now, everybody in this township has a right to support or not support, to vote yes or to vote no, and I respect that also. But I hope that when you go into the voting booth, that you do it in a manner that you think is in the best interest of the township, and it's not as it relates to your opinion as to any person or what they might stand for or what they might believe in. Because again, to do that is a disservice. And whatever the results are of the vote, then that's what we as a community accept. But for me, I hope and pray for this community that the police department is continuously supported. And I know that every one of those guys up there, every one of you who have disagreements and argue with each other, I know that you're all together when it comes to supporting the Sumpter Township Police Department. So my hat's off to all you
Amen.
guys.
You betcha.
Thank you for allowing me to say that.
Any more announcements?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.